Alright, we're back on sports. Let me say this now, alright? It has been a horrible week, and no, scratch that. It's been a horrible week for Philly sports. I say this due to the fact that, of course, with everything that's going on today, because it almost seems like everything that's happened, no one, really got upset on Monday morning because, as you know, Halloween and all. So it seems like everybody held in their rage from Monday morning, decided, okay, we'll start at 12 o'clock Tuesday morning. That's what it seems like. I don't understand what's going on here because, for those who don't know, Seth has gone on strike. People in Philly, I hope that you've adjusted to this by now because they do this every, 3-4 years. They pull this shit. All right, so hopefully you've learned from this situation before and that you have a way to get to work or get to school or whatever. It's an absolute fucking joke as far as I'm concerned. Now, I want to move on to about people, or should I say teams, in our area that are more of a joke. That's right, let's talk about this. All right? The Philadelphia Flyers. Yeah, let's talk about that, shall we? First off, the team is looking horrible. I understand it's early in the season. Team looks horrible. I say this due to the fact that you cannot be losing games 5, 6, 7 goals. You can't. Look, you have the offense to do it. The problem is you're fucking lazy, all right? So you have these slow starts, then you have these monstrous comebacks, then you end up losing by a ton of points. And it doesn't matter who's in net because the defense is ass. It doesn't matter. No. There's no reason for this. So every time that you have to force a comeback, you shouldn't be down 3 goals anyway. But you force a comeback to win a game. Everybody wants to applaud you. Oh, look how much heart you showed, blah, blah. Shouldn't be down. Shouldn't be down by that much. You shouldn't. Okay? But then there's times where what happened with the Penguins where you were up and you let the Penguins score 3 goals in 1:30. The Flyers look horrible. They do. All right? Inconsistent. I don't know what's going on at defensive end. That's what needs to be fixed more. I'm not worried more about the slow start as I am about the defense in general. Just letting guys just blow by you and score goals and have your goaltenders constantly one-on-one. That's horrible. You can't have that. That is a lapse in every other player's defense. Now I put it like this. This makes me go back to how Laviolette would handle this. And I say that due to the fact, because remember, when Laviolette was losing all those preseason games, they got rid of him 3 games into the season, and they were like, well, the team just wasn't, they weren't, responding to him. Really. I understand we got a lot of new guys. I understand we got a new coach or whatever, he's still fairly new, all right? But when you're losing games like this, it's absolutely atrocious. Granted, our beginning of our schedule, it's a killer schedule, all right? They took us out there on the West to play, some of the best teams to see how we fared against them. I get it, all right? But now it's not an excuse anymore. It's not. They're playing bad. They are. And you can't keep expecting the same usual suspects to get you out of holes all the time. You can't, worry about Giroux or Simmons or Virgil. These guys need to step up. Matt Reed stepped up, and people were like, well, he still needed to be traded. What? Matt Reed is actually trying to do something. No. We need more guys to step up. It's that simple. I don't think that this is going the way that people... You have to understand, Flyers hockey every year, we don't... Unlike Eagles fans, Flyers fans, we don't scream Stanley Cup. All right? They scream what? Playoffs. If you can get there. Playoffs. Beat Pittsburgh. That's what you do. And right now, what we saw... We just lost to the Penguins. It is horrible the way they lost to the Penguins. All right? But if you think they're going to make the playoffs in this way, I understand people say, well, they got to get the rust off. That's what the preseason was for. Matter of fact, a lot of these players play, as we've seen, throughout the season. Even in the offseason of the NFL, they were still out in, other places playing. So, no, that's not an excuse. I'm tired of seeing this time and time again, night in, night out. And I understand that sometimes fans have to have, just like the players, they have to have a short-term memory. But when you see it night in and night out, it's almost a replay of the last game. That's what it feels like. So you don't get a chance to have that short-term memory. You don't. Speaking of replays, let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, shall we? Eagles versus Cowboys. Let's talk about it. The reason I call it a replay is because it almost reminds me of the fucking Lions game. I say this due to the fact that Eagles had the game won. Had Dallas beat. What you do? Let them back in the fucking game, didn't you? Okay, let's start with the receiving corps. Because that's what really pisses me off the most, all right? You're not helping your rookie quarterback, mind you. Got to keep reminding people, this guy's a rookie quarterback, all right? Your receivers are not catching the damn ball. They're not. And look, These are on plays that are 4 or 5 yard plays, on slants and squarings. You have your opponent beat. You have your defender beat. And yet you still drop the ball. That's what you're doing. I don't understand this. We need somebody with some damn hands out there. Seriously. And the thing is, Nelson Aguilar, let's talk about Nelson Aguilar's ass right now. For you to come out and say, all right, that, well, I'm tired of hearing this shit about us dropping passes. All right, well, you may be tired of it, but guess what? If you want it to stop, then catch the damn ball. See, here's the thing, all right? Anybody, I don't care if you're in sports. I don't care if you have a 9-to-5 job. I don't care if you work in sanitation. I don't care what type of, you're an accountant, if you work seasonal work, whatever the case may be, okay? Whatever you work. You know and I know that if you don't live up to your standard, your performance that the company has hired you to do, all right, that invested in you to do this job, you're going to hear it, right? Okay, for Nelson Aguilar to sit here and say, or Aguilar, whatever you want to fucking call him, as far as I'm concerned, I don't give a shit what his name is, or I don't care to pronounce it right if you're going to keep dropping fucking passes. The fact that you came out and said some shit like that tells me you can't take this. You can't handle this, and you don't want to handle responsibility in general. You're going to keep hearing it if you keep dropping passes. You got one damn job. That's what you got. Because no one's going to sit here and say, hey, you should block that guy. No, you're not blocking anybody. But the fact is, you're still dropping passes. And if you can't get that, if you can't get that straight, and you're tired of hearing it, then you know what, as far as I'm concerned, they need to put you in a package and ship you off somewhere else where we can get a better fucking receiver. Unreal. For you to say some shit like that is beyond me. But that's not all. No. Defense. Let's talk defense. All right? Now, look. And around near the end of the fourth quarter into the overtime, kind of figured this was going to happen with Dallas. They already got momentum. They scored on us. You have to understand defense. Defense had just made a big stop in the fourth, right? Very late in the fourth. So when we go to the coin toss and we lose the coin toss, they're going right back on the field. They don't have no rest. They pretty much burned themselves out. As we know, people like Connor Barber are limited now in snaps because they want to make sure he's fully healthy because of everything that's happened. It's almost as if, and I want to say this, they've become a little bit more relaxed. There's one thing I will give Chip Kelly credit for. Remember, he was making it that tempo offense. Our defense had to be able to do those snaps and perform consistently. They had to. And remember, we had to hear, man, I'm tired. He don't give us no break. It was only one person complaining the entire time about that, right? But they were better. They were more fit. It seems like now they're actually sucking a lot more wind. So now they got to be limited in snaps in order to get their full potential. That's a problem, okay? That's the one thing I will say that Chip Kelly did for defense that was good. It raised their stamina. Remember, we saw opponents, when we played against their defense, we're just going to fake like we're hurt so that we can get a break. Our defense could have went time and time again, not cared. Now, they need to be limited snaps. It's a problem on that defensive front. However, I want to give some the defensive front credit because you did a great job disrupting Dak for a majority of the game. You did. So you have to give them credit. The problem I have with defense is the secondary. All right? Trash. You can't sit here and tell me that you are getting burned. All right, first off, you're celebrating almost damn near every play you get a stop. I'm tired of seeing this shit and all this shit. I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of seeing it. Even when you don't have anything to do with the play and the receiver drops the ball. No. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then, of course, the next play, you get burned for 10, 20 yards. What happened to all celebrating then? There's no reason to celebrate. This game is built off of the discipline. And, of course, emotions run high. We know that. But you got to be able to contain them. You have to. You don't need to pump your chest or beat your chest every play. You make a stop. Okay, good stop. Everyone acknowledges it. We see it. You don't need the showboat. You don't need the grandstand. You don't. But we still see it. And in the end of it, where did it get you? Huh, secondary? What happened? What was the final score of that? Okay. So all that celebrating throughout the game, where did it get you? All right. Now, speaking of the game, I have to say this. Because offense, like I said, even though I get on receivers for dropping passes, all right, Darren Sproles looked great, all right? I don't know why you didn't keep feeding the ball in certain situations. Instead, you're throwing these passes, which is a problem with play calling. You're throwing passes behind the line of scrimmage and hoping they can do something. Carson Wentz is really not throwing the ball downfield. You're not really giving that much time, all right? And I will put it like this. I've noticed in the previous couple of weeks, Carson Wentz has not looked like Carson Wentz. And I don't say that as in, he's scared or anything. I haven't seen him do a lot of audibling. I haven't seen him actually check out the defense. If you notice, throughout the majority of the Dallas game, he was just like, all right, this is the play. All right, hike me the ball, hike me the ball, hike me the ball. It wasn't until really in the fourth quarter he started, okay, I see this, and he starts to see formations, and he starts to call it. By then, though, the offensive line had, just given up, especially in the crucial part, near the end of the game, big gaps. The linebackers just running right through the hole and hitting Carson Wentz, all right? And I'll put it like this, I'll give Carson Wentz credit. When he got hit from behind that one play and still held on to that ball, got to give him some credit on that because any other quarterback would have fumbled that ball when he was hit from behind. So you got to give him something on that. Carson Wentz still has a lot of work to do. Granted, he is a rookie. He is, all right? Receivers are not helping him out because they're dropping passes, all right? Notice you don't ever hear Carson Wentz complain about it, but he doesn't need to because he sees it just like the rest of us fucking sees it, okay? It almost makes me feel as though these receivers, again, are not getting enough practice, catching the ball. Almost like they don't take their job seriously enough. That's how it makes me feel. It makes me feel like you're disrespecting your offense by dropping 3, 4, 5-yard passes. Or when you got someone finally burned and you're getting ready to score, you drop the ball anyway. It's disrespectful. It is. I don't get it. Secondary is a problem. Receivers are a problem. Running game actually wasn't that bad. Defensive front actually wasn't that bad to an extent. And now I have to talk about this because of the fact, I want to get this straight, all right? Seth Joiner. Now, I've said before that I respect the hell out of Seth Joiner because he's an ex-Eagles player. Respect it, all right? But as an analyst, you are horrible for you to come out and say that Ezekiel Elliott is better than Emmitt Smith. But you really said that. You really, okay, mind you, the same Seth Joiner that said that we were going to blow out the Lions. But, okay, you want to say this. Look, you cannot compare, all right, Ezekiel Elliott, who's played a handful of football games his first season, to Emmitt Smith, a Hall of Famer in his entire catalog. You can't do that. You can't. And I'm not trying to hear, if you measure his games up to Emmitt's games when he first started, completely different league. Completely different league. And they say, he's got the best line in football. The Dallas Cowboys have the best line in football. Arguably the best line in football. They talked about it in the pregame show. But here's the thing as well. When in the 90s, when the Dallas Cowboys won all the Super Bowls, did Dallas Cowboys have the best line in football? Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And they all go to the Pro Bowl? Yeah, they all went to the Pro Bowl. So, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, you can't sit and compare the two. You can't. All right? I don't care if you these handful of games, how he started as opposed to he started. You can't do that. You can't. It's a horrible comparison. You should be ashamed of yourself. I don't understand how you still get paid for doing this. Other than because you're Seth Joiner. Because clearly you have nothing of substance to offer. Nothing. Speaking of substance to offer, let me speak on this real quick. First off, I want to give Sturgis, I'd rather give the kicker credit. Got to give him credit for them trying to ice him and then him coming back and kicking that ball. But we talked about these 6 games, this 6-game stretch. And I said how they're winnable games. Did I not? Because I see a lot of people freaking out or overreacting. And I put it like this. If you've counted the team out already, like before, and said that they weren't going to do great this year, then you've waived your right to not be upset. You can't be upset. You don't get the right to be upset. You don't. I've said keep it in perspective, keep it in reality. Where other people have just said, we're not going to win at all. Or we have guys who quit before the game starts or during the game. Like, you've lost the right to get upset as far as I'm concerned. Like I said before, I don't consider those type of fans, those guys and girls who act that way, fans. I don't consider them fans at all. Okay? Just find another team if you feel that way. But in this 6-game stretch, I said these 6 games were winnable. Now, if you think about it, we should have beat the Lions. We were a fumble away from beating the Lions. Okay? The Washington Redskins, they just outplayed us. They outcoached us. You can't take it away from them. No excuses. Redskins beat us. Okay? We go on to beat the Vikings, right? Okay. Game 4 against the Cowboys, right? We have the Cowboys beat. And what happens? You let them back in the game. Think about it. Now, a lot of people say you're only 1 play call away from beating the Cowboys. Regardless of the fact that we're right there on the cusp. Think about it. For only losing 1 game. And people are still saying this team is ass, this team is trash. Look, The team overall isn't trash. Is our secondary trash? Yes. Are our receivers trash? Yes. But you know what? You got to make those moves so that they're better. That's simple. The team still has heart. They still fight. But they're almost reminding me now of the Sixers. And I say this due to the fact that you wait till you get late in the game and then you give the game away. Because that's exactly what the Sixers do. It's hard to watch. I can understand. I understand your frustration. I understand your anger. I know. But if you think about it, in this stretch, they've had chances. They've had more than enough fair share chances to win these games. They've been up late in the games, and they've blown it. We've got the Giants next week, or should I say this Sunday coming up. I keep forgetting it's Tuesday now because of because of Halloween and everything. Yeah. Got the Giants coming up. All right? 1 o'clock game. Here's my thing. Giants fans have already contacted me saying, you got a good chance to win this game. Yeah, I think we do too. And I think we can beat the Giants. A lot of Giants fans are saying, well, Eli and Beckham, they're not really on the same page. And if you've been paying attention to what's been going on with the rest of the receiving core, they're not that good either. This would be a good time, all right, to get Wentz out there and let him do his thing. Because, like I said, it just seems like, to be honest, like I said, he's not checking down. He doesn't look like he's having fun, to be honest. He doesn't look it. So as far as I'm concerned, this is something that needs to be addressed as soon as possible. I don't want to hear from Doug Peterson because we're seeing the same attitude. That, mind you, he's under Andy Reid's wing. That's what it feels like right now. Not putting players in check with their emotions. Getting on the podium and saying the same old bullshit. Like, I take responsibility for blah, blah. Like, we've heard this. We've heard it. It's just jargon. That's all it is. Unless the results have changed, there's no point of saying it. Because we heard it from Big Red year after year, game after game. I take full responsibility for everything that happened. I didn't prepare them enough, to go out there and win a football game, which is clearly on you then, and you should, something should happen about that, and then time's yours. And then what happens? The next week, the same thing. Obviously, I didn't prepare them enough, and I take full responsibility, and time's yours. And the same thing over and over and over without any change. Same results. You know the problem. You're not fixing it. That's what it is. And as far as I'm concerned, Howie Roseman, you got to make some phone calls. You got to. Now, I know a lot of people were saying, well, that sounds a little brash. So I'm saying it needs to be done. Look, I put it like this. Howie Roseman. A lot of fans did not expect us to be this good this fast. Okay? So when a lot of people say, yeah, you're pretenders now, you're pretenders. Actually, we're not. Like I said, if you think about it, we've only lost to the fucking Redskins. If you look at it in that perspective. Without the Eagles pretty much blowing it themselves. You gotta believe that there's a better ride, coming, a better horizon, I should say. Because we can beat the Giants, then we have Atlanta. And that's where I'm going to say that'll be another test. So our two biggest tests were the Vikings and Atlanta. I said that. But you know what? Let's move on to more positive news with the Eagles. For those who know what I'm talking about. All right. Aside from the game. Oh, God. Get it together. Aside from the game. All right. The Eagles, not too long, when they were in Dallas, the actual franchise, were here to help the community. That's right. For those who don't know, not too long ago, they were here to help children get their eyes tested. So while I really do want to get on the Eagles and still be upset at them for losing to the Cowboys, and when I see stuff like this, it's like, okay, well, I really can't be too mad right now, can I? Because they're actually helping out the community. They're in the community. They're getting kids, eye tests. It was free, of course. There was a line, like this line was so long. It bent around the corner and everything. So as far as I'm concerned, it helped families. It helped kids with their eye vision, you know what I mean? The Eagles did a really good job here. They did. All right? That's not to say that. Now, when it comes to the NFL, there's only one other thing I really want to talk about in the NFL, all right? And, of course, we've seen, as of late, we've seen guys in gorilla suits run on the field. We've seen fans get nude and run on the field. We've seen people protest. We've seen people kneel. We've seen people wear shirts. We've seen all those other things. But never in my time, all right, when it comes to an NFL game, did I think that I would see a dildo get thrown on the field.
Toss it to Hogan. Hogan gets hit inside the 5 by Stephon Gilmore.
Some fan threw something right out on the field, too, at about the 1-yard line.
Yeah, initially I thought it might have been a flag, but I didn't say it because it didn't look yellow. So they've discarded that. And it's now 2nd and goal. Well, it definitely wasn't a flag.
What makes this even more great is the fact that the commentators, all right, they brought attention to it. Well, that looked like a flag, but it's not yellow. Nope, that's not a flag. You think that's not a flag, you know? I thought that was great. But I do want to move on to this. More football, but overseas. And I need to talk about my team. That's right, Chelsea. Sunday, you played against Southampton. And you know what? Not even mad. You went out there and you did what needed to be done. You went out there and you beat them. You clean-sheeted them. Again, we're seeing a number of clean sheets as of late. Chelsea also, unlike the Flyers, are starting off at a really hot and fast pace, and they score goals quickly. I like to see this. This game, Hazard, it was a coming out party for Hazard, pretty much. It really was. He looked great out there. Costa again scored. He should have scored more. I mean, if anyone saw those breakaways, he should have scored. But he was looking down when he kicked the ball, and of course, hit the goalkeeper. Can't do anything about that. You know what I mean? So, I mean, well, you can. It's called look up and you realize where what you know at times. But hey, it happens. I want to say now, Costa, congratulations to Costa due to the fact that, for those who don't know, he is the leading goal scorer in the EPL right now. Also, I would like to say that, remember just not too long ago we were talking about his goal scoring as opposed to antics? Remember we talked about that? Remember? And we haven't seen that much antics from him as of late, have we? No, we haven't, because he's scoring goals. That's why. He's not frustrated. He's actually playing with a devil-may-care, devil-may-care attitude. That's what he's doing. And I like to see that. The team is playing aggressive. They have a number, like the way they've kept possession in these games is, I just feel, is just amazing. They switched and put the 4 in midfield, so I like to see that. It's helped drastically. The team looks great, and it's running on all cylinders. Look, I understand. Look, they have their every once in a while they have their little, breakdowns or whatever, and it happens, especially near the end of the halves. They really do. It comes to a point where they're falling back a lot and playing defense, and they're afraid to give up that that goal. I can understand that. All right. We also saw Southampton not too long ago when they had scored, remember, but the guy was offsides, so you can't do anything about that as well. So hey, it happens. But, Courtois looks good. I mean, he's doing what he needs to do as a goalkeeper as well. Very happy to always see him in net. Like I said, the team looks great. I can only imagine what they're going to do in the second half of the season. All right, we're only 1 point behind first place. 1. So, of course, it's still early in the season, I feel. So, not that big of a deal. Like I said, second half of the season, when it starts to get crucial, then that's when all bets are off as far as I'm concerned. That's when I start to say, destroy every team possible. I mean, granted, you have rivalries, you have your teams. Granted, you're going to lose some teams now, and I'm still like, okay, well, you lost. All right, not that big of a deal at times. You know what I mean? I feel that way. Certain games is fine. What did I say after they beat Man U? Oh, you can lose a number of games after just beat Man U. You go out there and you still beat Southampton. So I don't have a problem with this whatsoever. The team is running like a well-oiled machine. Conte was the answer. He's the answer right now. Right now and not in the impending future. We won't know. We have to see how the team will adjust to him in the future. However, right now, he's got their support clearly. And like I said, these fans, I have to question, who was really for this team to begin with and who was just for Moreno. Big Mouth Moreno, as far as I'm concerned. So, and that's what I'm calling from now on. And like I said, for what we've seen with Manchester United, I know you say, well, you still talk about Moreno. Yes, because for those who don't know, he just got finished bagging on Manchester. And Man U fan will tell you, he was like, I don't feel right being here. I feel like I got to go across. He had to go take a train or go across a bridge or whatever to go to a restaurant. Like, he didn't feel right and his family's too far away. Making all these excuses on why he doesn't feel well when it comes to being in Manchester. And this is, of course, when they were losing. Now that they're winning, it's a whole different story. Yeah, When you beat a team, you beat who? Was it Burnley? You beat them, 4-0? Yeah, we'll see what happens. Right now, Manchester United is not the problem, as far as I'm concerned. Teams that I am worried about when it comes to the EPL right now are 2 teams. Only 2, all right? That is Manchester City, and we always know how Manchester City is, and during the mid of the season, near the end of the season, mid of the season, they start to slack off, they fall off, and at the end of the season, they try to make a strong push on whether they can or not. And I'm very worried about Liverpool. Because they seem like a legit contender. Liverpool is a problem. They are. All right? Especially the way they handled us last time. They're a problem. I'm not even worried about Arsenal. I'm not even worried about them, all right? I'm not. Usually Arsenal goes the same way they do every season. Nothing really, nothing really of relevance. I mean, they're big and they get good, and then like later in the season they're once again like Man City. They just can't get over that. That they can't get over the top. They just can't. You know what I mean? They fall short every time. So my two biggest teams, I'm worried about Manchester City simply because remember there's like 3 or 4 teams I believe that are tied for first or something like that. But the two biggest threats right now, Manchester City, Liverpool, as far as I'm concerned. Two biggest threats, clearly. But I want to move on. I want to talk about things that are threatening and things that aren't threatening. And I want to talk about the Philadelphia 76ers and their fans. The Philadelphia 76ers, not very threatening to other competitors. The Philadelphia 76ers fans, very threatening and very nasty to other competitors.
Side the foul line and continued as the fan welcomes him to Philadelphia there.
Way to make our fan base look like a bunch of ignorant degenerates. You fucking old ass. Sit your old ass bitch ass down. Don't sit there and tell me that was okay. And everyone's just like, well, he said that Russell Westbrook had said something, called him fat or whatever. Get the fuck. I ain't trying to hear that shit. You can look on Russell Westbrook's face and you can see he's just like, fuck on this dude. Like he didn't say anything till you can clearly see it. Clearly. Don't tell me you're going to get up and get all emotional and start flipping them off. It's the first game of the fucking season. Don't tell me you cranked up all the way to 10 over that shit. You got to be kidding me. And here's the thing, Sixers fans, all right, because a lot of you are still fucking jaded. You know what? Almost it feels as though you haven't been watching the previous 3 seasons, it feels like, all right? Because when Joel Embiid finally gets out there, and look, I don't think that anyone will deny that Joel Embiid is out there trying. No one can deny that, all right? He's out there trying, all right? But when you start chanting, trust the process, there's a problem.
And they're chanting, trust the process, in a nod to Sam Hinkie, who was a general manager here for the 3-year run that brought Embiid, Noel, Okafor, and a slew of draft choices yet to come. You know, Embiid said he wants to have the nickname Joel the Process Embiid.
And the same fans who were chanting, trust the process, were the same fans who left the game early because the Sixers were being beat.
And the fans right now so deflated, some of them heading for the exits. All right, if you're Philadelphia, you're now out of timeouts. So you're Brett Brown, obviously want to score in a hurry, and then you have to commit a foul and hope for some missed free throws. And you see the sadness. They've been cheering all night. It really has been a celebration for the Sixers, watching Joel Embiid not only make his debut, but play so well. But on the verge of a heartbreaker to begin the season.
So the hardcore, diehard fans, all right, who are saying trust the process, are now leaving their team out to dry. And this is just the first game of the season. I can only imagine how y'all going to act 30 games in, 40 games in. Is anyone even going to be in the stands? This is what I'm talking about. This is exactly the point I was trying to make. You cannot sit here and say what Sam Hinkie did was okay. Oh, praise Sam Hinkie. Where's he at now? He went up and quit. Did he not? He knew what he did was wrong. If everyone says, oh, well, he got all these pieces, he acquired all these pieces. Understand, again, all these pieces that were acquired were put on the chopping block season after season after season. Do you forget this? Which means he felt as though they really weren't of relevance. That's what it means. Oh, we need a point guard. All right, well, let's get rid of the pieces that we spent 3 years trying to acquire. Really? That's what you want to go? That's what you want to hang your hand? That's the guy you want to praise? Okay, right. But see, here's the thing, all right? It's not just the stupid fucking fans who don't know what they're talking about, who back Sam Hinkie, because clearly you can see right there, the proof is in itself, all right? Diehard Sixers fan, leaving the game early. Yeah, very diehard. Can't even stand and support your team the entire time. They played OKC pretty tough. Now, when it came to Atlanta, they didn't play them tough at all. Matter of fact, I'm still trying to figure out why your fucking point guard, when you got your three-point shooter, I hate Flash Thompson. I hate him. But he's the man that's open. He's the man who's known to shoot threes. All right? Him and Covington. Those are your guys right now. All right? To shoot threes. So why is Rodriguez, again, why are you feeling yourself so much that you think that you're going to take a shot damn near from half court when the man is open? Mind you, Flash Thompson he can get the shot off because Millsap's not going to get there in time.
Got a healthy three from Rodriguez, and he did rim it.
I can see it now. But he almost made it. Almost don't count, bruh. Seriously, there's no reason to take that shot. And like I said, if you haven't been paying attention, mind you, we're only a couple games into the season, okay? Only a couple games in. And already, they're looking like the Sixers from previous 3 seasons. And I feel bad for Embiid. And here's the thing. A lot of people say, well, Embiid may get Rookie of the Year this year. It's amazing how people forgot just about Okafor altogether. just forgot he was on the team, huh? Now that Embiid is here. It goes to show you that these fans are not keeping it in perspective. Again, if you get these guys all on the floor together, then maybe we can have something to talk about. But now we are 4 seasons in. 4. That means not just seasons. That means years. We are 4 years in to a rebuild. And mind you, this is the 4 years into the rebuild as opposed to what we had before, which is before the Iverson thing. So it was what, 12, I want to say 12 years? 12 years now? 12 years now? Something like that? Yeah. Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, like I said, the team, like I said, they will play exciting for a while. But as you know, they're going to fall into the same vices. Turnovers, not defending the 3, and in the fourth quarter, especially I'm going to say about 4 minutes or so left in the fourth quarter, just absolutely dog it and blow it. That's what they do. They're the Sixers. And it's not going to get better until coaching realizes, like I said, again, it's a repeat offense every time. And for fucking Barrett, Barrett, whoever, fucking coach, all right, to come out and just be like, I'm proud of my players. I'm proud of my players. I don't get it. What are you proud of? All right, I'm trying to figure this out. If your players are falling all over the place, they're making ill-advised shots, they're making ill-advised decisions in general, okay? And you see the way your game plan is set up, the way you coached it, the way you wrote this shit up, and yet they're breaking protocol, not because they have to act on the fly, because, they're being pressured. Clearly, you saw, not being pressured whatsoever, but because they're feeling themselves too fucking much, there is a problem. And you're not holding them accountable. So we're supposed to sit back as basketball fans. This is why a lot of street ball here gets more credit than professional basketball. We're supposed to just sit here and swallow that shit and be okay with that. But trust the fucking process. Are you fucking nuts? 4 years. 4 years. Unreal. Still no talk about Ben Simmons coming back. Roy Head Simmons coming back because, yeah, he's on steroids. Roy Head Simmons coming back. Now that he's hurt, he's definitely going to be taking steroids. To get back faster. Jesus Christ. Of course they'll be, prescribed by a doctor. It's not like he's going out there and getting it illegally, but still, steroids, PEDs are PEDs. Regardless. Don't know when Nerlens is coming back, even though he just had knee surgery. And it was like, he'll be back in a couple games. Never seen someone have knee surgery and come back just a couple games. Never, ever. But okay. Alright, a couple games. We'll see. There's too much that's going on in this Sixers. I don't even talk about just the front office. The front office is just, I swear to God, they're wacky as fuck. But the players, the personnel that's on the court, don't get me wrong, you have some that are talented, but you are surrounded by a sea of untalented players. You just are. And for anyone who says, they need to gel, they need to, be able to have chemistry, well, guess what? That's what Summer League was for. That's what preseason was for. Yeah, that's what it was for. Just letting you know. All those combines and everything, yeah, that's what it was for. Going back down in the D-League, holding these extra tryouts that you see, that you will still see throughout the season as they have call-ups, yeah, that's what it's for. Practice every day, that's what it's for. Okay. I'm just so disappointed in this team already, and we're only a couple games in. And listen, it's not just about losing. Look, you have to expect them to lose. But when you're, it almost feels purposely. You're shooting yourselves in the foot to lose by making horrible decisions. When you make these horrible decisions, it tells me you don't deserve to be in the NBA. Hell, you don't deserve to be in the D-League. If someone took a shot like that on the street, shit. That'd be the last time you took that shot. Ain't no one picking you up. You might as well go home. No other pickup team's coming. If they don't come with their 5 or 6, because sometimes you have a sub, ain't no one picking you up for that. Oh, you want to shoot from half court, huh? Okay. Nah, ain't no one doing that. But speaking of things that shouldn't be done as well, let's talk about the Griffin Force flop of the week. Let's talk about the Golden State Warriors. Andre Iguodala, ex-Sixer, Andre Iguodala. I need to know, where the hell did you fall? What hit you? Did a ghost hit you? Did you walk into an imaginary wall? Did someone just uppercut you? Look, I put it like this. Did you get hit in the low blow? Yeah, you got hit a little low. It was a little bit of contact. Does it mean you need to jerk your head back and throw yourself on the ground like you just got uppercutted? No, it doesn't mean a Griffin Force flop of the week.
It's a different type of defense for Golden State. Defense for Golden State.
Jesus fucking Christ. And you know what? I'm sure we're going to see more of this throughout the season. Hell, some of you have already sent me some stuff already for next week in the NBA. So it's like, come on. Come on. Something's got to be done here. It's way too early in the season to be pulling this shit, but whatever. Anyways, I'm almost done. I need to talk about one more thing before the end of this video. Now, not too long ago, y'all saw on Twitter, for those who follow me on Twitter, you know I got a title fight coming up, all right? And you want to know who's going to be broadcasting all this stuff. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, this was the stare down, all right, last week. All right, let me explain, okay? Yes, it will be a title fight. It is in-house, that's right. And this is a grudge match. This is for bragging rights. And I say this due to the fact that, for those who don't know, all right, because I have to lay out the story so that you'll know what's going on, all right? And I will be recording it, I will, so that you will see this title fight, all right? In the facility, there are things that you don't do, all right? Number one is that you don't act cocky. In any facility, you can ask any boxing facility, any martial arts facility, any jiu-jitsu facility, any type of martial art in general. You don't walk around like you're the fucking man. You don't do that, all right? You let your merit, you earn that, right? You don't have to talk yourself up, as you're the guy. You let others talk for you. That's what you do, right? Okay. One thing that is not tolerated is someone acting like a cocky fuck, okay? So, for example, in jiu-jitsu, if someone acts cocky and they just, decide they're a man and they can beat anybody, they will put you in front of the instructor. That's right. And you will go head-to-head with the instructor. And that instructor will tap you 4 ways from Sunday just to show you aren't that good. All right? That's how it works. Same thing with boxing. If you think you're the man and you're walking around facility as if your shit doesn't stink and that you can beat anybody, then guess what's going to happen? The top dog is going to take you down. That's what's going to happen. And that's what we have here. So for those who don't know what happened, I have to explain. As we're training, we have our own little fight team. For those who know, not only do I train for fights, but I also teach. You know that, all right? Now, in this specific day, I was teaching. I was actually an assistant. I was teaching. And having guys do box jumps, and do all that types of stuff. And I noticed that this guy was acting pretty cocky. Now, mind you, this guy, we have, I don't want to say a great history with each other. I don't want to say that because when his first day there, which was last year, I remember when I was help teaching, he came in, I said hello to him. I, approached him. Hello, how are you doing? Do you need any help with anything? And he was like, sorry, Brock, don't need your help. Not here to talk to you. I will only talk to the main trainer because I'm here for a fight. And that's how he acted. And I was like, okay, I want to whoop his ass now. That was last year. You know what I mean? That was last year. This is a guy who comes to the facility once every 3 weeks. Okay? Once every 3 weeks. While the other guys that are there every day, including myself, that are there damn near every day, I'm saying that, alright? You go on to talk, and got caught in the locker room, talk about how you're training for your title fight, because for those who know, there's a tournament coming up, alright? As I've won I've won 5 titles from via tournament. And he says, I'm going to win my title. Nobody here can stop me. Nobody here is better than me. Yeah. Got caught saying that in the locker room. Of course, gets back to me because the guys in the facility are very upset about that. Because, like I said, when you're only there once every 3 weeks and you have literally a bowling ball for a stomach, okay, and you're talking about how you're training for your title fight, you're disrespecting all the other guys that are there every day busting their ass getting ready for this tournament. Disrespects them, okay? So for me, when they brought it to my attention, I had said, well, I do like the attitude that he's very confident in himself. You know what I mean? Very confident. I don't have a problem with that. But when you are training for this tournament, This is your fight team. These are your guys. This is your family. These are your teammates. You are not squaring off with these guys. You know what I mean? You're not squaring off with these guys. In tournament, you're going to be fighting other people who are at your weight class and, in height and weight. It's got to be fair. You are not fighting these guys. So when you sit here and say that you're better than everybody in the facility, you're disrespecting the heavyweights, you're disrespecting the light heavyweights, you're disrespecting the featherweights, you're disrespecting the middleweights, you're disrespecting everybody across the board. That's what you're doing. Not to mention yours truly who's still active. Nah, we can't have that. So, since he felt that way, he thought he was great, the facility said, okay, he feels he's so great, let's put him in a match. Title fight. We'll set up the title fight for bragging rights. Because he really tried to come in here on some Bruce Lee shit and was just like, yo, he did it last week too. Came in, and it's the thing. He comes once every 3 weeks, and then last week, he came back to back, which is kind of interesting. So I'm thinking to myself, maybe he's going to take it seriously. I won't know until he shows up today. If he shows up today. I guarantee you won't show up today. He'll more likely show up tomorrow, if he does that. But if anything, my money is banking on he'll show up tomorrow. Okay? But now comes in, I want to fight anybody who's willing to fight me. Yeah. The confidence, I love the confidence. Like I said, I love the confidence. I love the fact that happens. But you have now rubbed everybody in the facility the wrong way. Not only the competitors, but now the trainers. You cannot act this way. So now, you've got to be made an example of. So come mid-November, I'm letting y'all know now. I'm coming home with another title. It ain't going to be a problem for me. All right? It ain't going to be a problem. He's taller, he's longer than me, he's taller. Yeah, but that's not going to matter. That shit ain't going to matter. I'm going to eat him for breakfast. All right? 3 3-minute rounds. And with the title fight being signed, he has opted, and I'm giving him the advantage here. I have to wear 16-ounce gloves. He can wear 14-ounce gloves. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, like he's going to have the advantage. And I'm still going to beat him. Because a message needs to be sent. So, once again, this is an in-house thing. This is not like the tournaments that I've usually been in. This is a grudge match. This is something that's been festering for a year now. Because you don't come in and you don't disrespect people. Like, especially if you don't know them. You don't do that. You be humble. You come in there thinking you're a hot shot, someone's going to take you down. Unless you're a professional fighter walking into with a bunch of amateurs and you're like one of the top 1% in the world, you cannot pull that shit. No, you can't do that. And people won't stand for it. Like I said, these guys are fighters. They get punched in the face every damn day. They don't like to be disrespected at all when it comes to you come into they're pretty much their haven and you're telling them that you're better than them and you don't show up once every 3 weeks. Okay. I got some tricks in my bag for this guy. Like I said, mid-November, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, and the thing is, the reason it's in mid-November, we haven't done it, like recent, because I'm ready. I can fight now. I'm in fight shape now. I'm ready to go now. I'm an everyday fighter. I'll go now. Like I said, I fight 3-4 times a day. 3-4 opponents a day. On top of helping people. So for me, it's not a big deal. He wanted it to be an extended time, later in the future, because he needs the training. So you're talking, but you're not training. You're talking and showing up once every 3 weeks. You're not training. Now, like I said, now he's asking for fights with more people because he needs the experience. He gonna need it. And I guarantee you, no matter who they throw in there with him, it's still not gonna be enough. Not gonna be enough. Your mouth done got you in trouble, son. I look forward to it. And the thing is, here's the thing. He is a nice guy. Like, once you get to meet him, he's a nice guy. He is. I'm not going to sit here and bag him the entire time. But we got some unfinished business. And now that you're acting cocky, like I said, for me, the attitude isn't a problem. That's actually with all the other guys. But I'm going to be the one to make an example out of you. So now y'all know what's going on. Yeah, title fight coming soon. Should be fun. I'm going to enjoy myself. I don't know about him. I don't think it's going to be very enjoyable for him. But I'm going to enjoy myself. This should be one for the ages as far as I'm concerned. I think I'm going to put on the show. But I've already told him I'm not going to hit him 100% either. Because he's getting ready for the tournament. It's too close to tournament time. If I try to take his head off, he's not going to be ready for the tournament. So I'm just going to make an example. I'm still going to hit him. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to hit the shit out of him. But I'm not going to try and kill the kid. And I say kid because because of experience-wise. That's all. Not because of age. Because he's literally, like I said, he's in his late 20s. So he's not a kid. You know what I mean? He's almost pushing 30. He's not a kid. Like I said, it's one of those things where you guys got to make an example out of him. Just like I make an example of anyone else. That's how I feel. Like I said, when you go into a fight, you should I tell you, it's not that you feel as though you're a god, because Mike Tyson will tell you, I feel like I'm unstoppable when I walk into a fight. I'm actually the opposite. I feel like a zombie. You can hit me all day. I'm going to keep coming at you. And I keep coming at you. And I keep coming at you. I will put my body through so much pressure, so much pain. I don't feel it. I just keep coming forward. I don't care. Because I'm going to get you. That's how it is. That's how I feel. Anyways, I'm done for the day. This has been a hell of a video. Really wish I had covered a couple more things, but I'm sure this time has went over a lot. So I will talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. Besides, I got a lot of stuff I need to do. Talk to y'all then. Y'all be safe. I'm sure we will talk more Eagles talk soon. Flyers talk soon. Sixers talk soon. Maybe next week we'll do around the NFL. Depends on how many games I see. I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. I'm out.